Okefenokee Swamp Park. And we're so glad that you're with us. So again, we're trying to parallel what they did 70 years ago, and we appreciate your being here. Okay. And our guests today are Miss Lena Hennon, and Summer Lack.
Thank you, Leslie. 70 years ago, there was after a lot of work from folks, especially in Waycross, but all over South Georgia, this Okefenokee Swamp Park was originally opened to the world. Attending were local folks much like you, and there were state officials like the governor of Georgia was here. The beautiful women dressed in period and Southern style dresses were here. It was an exciting time in our country. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But first, I would like for y'all to all come around here and I'll step out here in the front. There you go,
You guys will come to the front of the podium, and they're all going to be behind the ribbon dot park. Everybody moves forward a little bit.
I'll move forward just a little bit. Come on. Don't let me mess it up.
Yeah, we'll further close.
I'll come on up here. All ready?
Martin, make sure everybody can be.
You said exactly right. Don't get fired. So, for 70 more years. Now, these are not eyeball cutting scissors in case any of y'all are wondering about it. So here we are. You remember our original plan was to celebrate the 70th on October the 6th, and we were interrupted when the Lord sent Hurricane Matthew our way, and that washed out the celebration, and we're so pleased that so many thousands of people have already come here today on such a beautiful day. We're glad that you're among that crowd. If you had the opportunity to experience the Okefenokee conversation that occurred just a few minutes ago in the Nature Center, you saw a really good representation of Okefenokee culture that was mixed with folklore, I would have to say, and very, very entertaining. It's been recorded over the last 70 years, and especially over the last 10 years. We have seen an awful lot of upgrading of not just our physical facility after the fires came through in 2007 and 2011, but we now have fiber optic interactive internet cable that comes out here. We're in the process of producing educational planning that will be able to allow us not only to post more and more information on our website, but actually to be able to conduct two-way educational classes for folks in this area, other parts of Georgia, really across the country or across the world. Our educational planning has really advanced significantly. We have with us Kathy Murray, who is a full-time educator. Kathy, stand up, please. And Kristen Zemaitis, who you'll be meeting. She is going to be a graduate student with us starting in August through the University of Georgia's Odom School of Ecology. We're very, very happy to welcome both of these ladies here today. Now, some of the folks behind me I'm going to introduce. I will say you're going to see in a few minutes Congressman Buddy Carter get here. He's been delayed. There's something about a line out front of the parking. Maybe some of you experienced it too. But he'll be here. But I want to turn this over to some other folks that we've invited to be here and to help bring greetings. And I think it's appropriate for you to understand that here we are in the Okefenokee, and the land that we occupy is on Cowhouse Island, and it's 85% owned by the state of Georgia as part of the Dixon Memorial State Forest. And it's 15% owned by the Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge. So we lease that land. We are a 501c3 not-for-profit. We do not receive any government funding to keep the Okefenokee Swamp Park open. But with us today is the manager of the Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge, Mr. Michael Lusk. Since he was assigned here, and that's the office that's down in Folkestone. Since he was taking this assignment, he's worked very closely with Martin Bell. Martin, are you here? Martin's back over that way. Y'all know it's fantastic general manager that we have here. Work very closely with our staff and closely with our board. And I'd like to ask at this time Michael Lusk to come up and make a few remarks. Mr. Lusk.
Well, okay.
Do you need this?
No, I'm good. I'm good. You carry the big stick around here. I'll be very brief. I just wanted to say thank you very much for inviting us. We do appreciate it. For those of you who don't know, the Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge is about 400,000 acres. And really, the Okefenokee Swamp and all of our partners and our entrances are an undiscovered secret, not only in the state of Georgia, but really in the entire United States. A couple of years ago, National Geographic put out this magazine of the 100 most beautiful places on Earth, and Okefenokee Swamp is number 49. So I want to say, thank you. So that's right. People, I think, many times because we live here locally, we don't understand the magnificence that is the Okefenokee Swamp and what it means. It's the largest blackwater swamp in North America. And this year, last year, we attracted between all three of our entrances, and if you don't know, there are three entrances. Stephen C. Foster State Park is on the west. We're on the east side, the entrance to the Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge, and of course the Okefenokee Swamp Park here in the north. Between those three entrances, we attracted about 600,000 visitors, and that brought in almost $16 million into the local economy. Over 90% of the visitors here are from not the local area. They're from other parts of the state and even other parts of the world. So it's a strong economic driver in this area, as well as an important ecological learning facility. And that's what I'd really like to say. I really appreciate the Okie Swamp Park because they bring that component to the management of the swamp that we're not able to do. They have the captive animals here and the animal shows, the trains and things like that, and we can't provide that. We provide some wilderness experience and backcountry camping and things like that, but these guys have been a great, powerful component to educating people, not only locally but worldwide. And so we appreciate what they've done, and we applaud them in their good work and wish them the best. And thank you for letting us be part of this celebration.
Thank you, Mr. Lusk. Also joining us here representing the state of Georgia is Representative Chad Nimmer, who represents a district in Brantley and Pierce and Wayne County, and now part of Waycross, as soon as the governor signs off as well. Chad has been, of course, is a multi-generational legislator and leader in South Georgia, but we are so very pleased also to have him as one of our partners, both as a contributor and as a sponsoring legislator, looking after the interests of South Georgia and of the Okefenokee Swamp. We've asked him to come and bring us some remarks. Chad, so glad you're here.
Thank you, Dr. Clark, and I'd like to thank the leadership sitting behind me that represents so much of what is the continued effort and commitment to the partnerships that have been forged over the past 70 years. I was sitting here reflecting back on just my childhood, and it's kind of special to me, and it's no surprise that the Okefenokee Swamp Park is not a stranger to me. I can remember taking tours and field trips out here in my elementary days of school. And as we were sitting here earlier during the reptile exhibition, my son, who is sitting right out here, JC, waved to me. He said, "Daddy, that lady taught me how to build a gator nest on the internet." And so the technology today that is being Skyped in and used via internet, and the technology that's going into our schools, while they may not be able to physically come out here, we're able to get that information and the importance of this environmental magnificent area to the kids in our classroom. As you heard a minute ago, with more than 400,000 acres here, this is a prime example of where conservation and preservation live together. And there's things that we don't need to harm and we don't need to impact any more than development and man already has. And no doubt that the Okefenokee Swamp Park is an example of holding back ecological succession. With one of the things Dr. Clark said, I noticed I was a little out of my league today, Dr. Clark. He said 70 years ago the governor came down to welcome everybody to the Okefenokee Swamp Park, and 70 years later, you're stuck with just a lowly House member. But Dr. Clark, I appreciate very much the invitation and the opportunity to come. And I want to point out that I have my daughters with me as well as my son. I don't get to travel with them very much and get to go around, but Gracie, Ava, and JC, if you will, just wave to everybody. Y'all give them a hand, please. They put up with a lot of daddy traveling, and two things I ask people at the state capitol that is a direct reflection of what we do here at the Okefenokee Swamp Park. When anyone comes to me with an idea, I ask them two questions. Is it good for my grandmother, and is it safe for my children? And that goes into the impact and the things that we do conserving our natural resources and the partnerships that we make going forward. So thank you for letting me be here. Welcome to the Okefenokee Swamp Park, and I hope you'll come back many more times. Thank you, Dr. Clark.
I think you saw joining us on the stage our own United States Congressman, Representative Buddy Carter. Representative Carter is a pharmacist by profession, and he has served ably in our state legislature and now in the United States Congress. He had the wisdom to marry a Waycross girl some years ago, and that makes him really family as far as we're concerned here. But he's come down. You know how busy things are right now in D.C., and we're so pleased to be able to welcome Buddy Carter right back home to the Okefenokee Swamp to come and give us some greetings from the United States government.
Well, thank you very much, and what a historic day. 70 years ago, this park was dedicated and opened, and here we are, 70 years later, celebrating that day. This is a great time in the history of this area, a great time in the history of our state. You know, as Dr. Clark alluded to, about 40 years ago, I came to Waycross courting a young lady who I had met up at Young Harris College. She was my chemistry lab partner. And I knew then, whenever I met her, that I was going to have to make her my bride. And for the last 38 years, she has been just that. But I do remember 40 years ago when I was courting her, I remember coming over here. And I remember being in awe of the beauty of this place. And you know, I have visited many times since then, and I continue to be in awe of the beauty of this area, and particularly of this park. I remember 40 years ago seeing the demonstration by Okefenokee Joe. And I remember thinking to myself, you know, just how quick can I get back to Savannah? But it was really a great time. I really enjoyed it. And when I say that I am in awe of the beauty of this place, I mean that sincerely. I mean, when we think about the nature trails here, when we think about the boat tours, all the things that are offered here, the education about the Native Americans, it's so very important, as Representative Nimmer alluded to, for future generations. This is what we need to really focus on. The preservation of areas just like this. You know, the Okefenokee is one of the 7 natural wonders of the state of Georgia. It's even a national natural landmark. And that's important because we owe it to future generations to make sure that we conserve and that we preserve areas like this. And you know, it's also great for the economic impact that it has. Over 500,000 visitors every year. And that has an economic impact on our area, and we appreciate that. But it's very important that we acknowledge all the volunteers, all the people who have a part in this, of keeping it going, of making sure that we're doing that job of preservation, of making sure that we are preserving it so that future generations can enjoy it. And I want to thank those people. I want to thank those people who give of their energy, who give of their time, and yes, who give of their money to make sure that we can keep this place going, to make sure that when this kid from Savannah comes over here courting this young lady from Waycross, that they have somewhere to go and enjoy and see the beauty of this place. This place has been a blessing for me. It's had an impact on my life. I'm sure it's had an impact on your life. And it's going to have an impact on future lives. So let's make sure we continue to do our part in preserving and conserving this beautiful natural landmark that we have here. Again, I want to thank the volunteers. I want to thank people like William Clark, who give of their time, who give of their money, who give of their energy to come here. Countless people over the years have had a part in that. Countless people. And if you're one of those, I want to thank you, because you're what makes this so special. Yeah, we enjoy the beauty of it, but the true beauty is in the people who come here to make sure that we can preserve. So thank you all. Congratulations. Congratulations on 70 years. It's really a milestone, something we should all be thankful for, and something we should all be proud of. So congratulations. Thank you for having me. God bless you.
Now a man who needs almost no introduction, as we look around at the wonderful Okefenokee swamp that is so representative of this part of the world, and we realize that it recycles itself in a very, very significant way. I bring you Mayor Knox, who was mayor in 1990, back when I was active in the Chamber of Commerce, and who has recycled himself into the best mayor that we have right now. Mayor, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. On behalf of the City of Waycross, I would like to welcome each and every one of you here today. This is just a great occasion, great weather, and what an outstanding crowd. I was thinking when the remark was made that this facility was first opened or created in October of 1946, I remember that well. That was the month and year that I was born. So I've kept a close eye on this place. It didn't look like this back then, but thanks to the great work and effort of many who preceded them, but for the last several years, Dr. Clark and members of his Board of Trustees, to Martin Bell and his staff, to all the volunteers, this is just an outstanding facility for this area and for the whole state of Georgia. My wife is here with me today. You can ask her. If you haven't been, I would highly encourage you to make the effort. I know a lot of you are from other places, but make an effort to come back sometime during the month of December for the Christmas light show. Out here, they have Christmas lights everywhere. You get in on a boat and ride around the swamp, and they have lights everywhere. That is spectacular. If you haven't seen it, make sure to put it on your schedule to come and see it this Christmas. And if you have been before like we have, we come every year and enjoy it even more every year that we come. But again, on behalf of the City of Waycross, this is such a tremendous asset for us. So many people come. You heard the figures that visit the 3 locations. A lot of them spend some money in Waycross buying, going to some of our restaurants, staying in our hotels. And as a mayor, I kind of like the sales tax revenue. It helps us pave roads and pay policemen and firemen. So we appreciate this outstanding attraction. It helps put Waycross and Ware County on the map, and we thank all of you who've had a part in building this up to the great facility it is for visitors and friends of the Okefenokee. Thank you for being here today.
So we really have come a long way, and I want to echo the words of all folks who have expressed appreciation for our Board of Trustees, who are all volunteers, unpaid, to the other volunteers who are working now, to our staff, to the generations of folks that have worked here. And I'd like for you to think for a minute and turn with me to the future. Our board met in retreat last weekend, and we have committed ourselves to moving forward, not just to developing better educational internet offerings, but actually changing and improving what you see here today. We're trying to think what we want this park to look like for the visitors that come here in 20 years or 25 years. And if you have ideas, if you have some things that you think would really help us and will really be good for us to improve, as we're going to improve a lot of the things that have been here a little longer than we would like. We're really looking forward to the future. We have a website. All you have to do is go to the internet and find Okefenokee Swamp Park. It will direct you there. We are raising money. Any of you who have any interest in helping us that way, I want to put a plug in for that because we really need your support at every level. I want to thank you all for attending and ask if there's anybody else. Susie, you have any comments you'd like to make? Are you sure? Okay, Robbie. Johnny, would you like to say anything to these folks? Come here. I want you to say one thing. Y'all know Johnny Hickox? Johnny, tell them who planted that big oak tree there by the snack shop.
Well, I'm the one that,
Right, you're talking to
yeah, I'm the one that accused of doing that. And several of the other trees in here. And I had something to do with pretty near all of this. That place right over here used to be Johnny's kitchen. I used to be the chief cook here, along with everything else. I've done a good bit of work on this building here. I've traveled that trail there many a time. A lot of things I see that I've done. But I'm still a young man. I still ain't but 92 years old. Trying to get further.
Tell us about being the chief guide and what the crowds used to look like 50 years ago, 60 years ago.
Yeah, well, way back there, we would have anywhere from 500 to 1,500 a day in here at different times. Along about time when school was going out and all, is when we would have our biggest crowds. We'd have 12 to 1,500 people a day. And always had something to do in here, something going on. I've been a guide over the swamp, showing it off to people. A photographer come by, well, they wanted to know who could they get. My name always popped up somehow. So I get that. I've made several trips there. I've made 3 trips all the way through the swamp, all the way down the Swanee River to the Gulf, which is about a 7 or 8 day trip on a boat. And, made many boat trails all in the swamp here. And, I have enjoyed every bit of it. Some of the best times of my life are spent right here in the Okefenokee. We would appreciate to get the park built back up. Not exactly like it used to be, but almost. We have done a lot here that we're proud of. Not too much of it dissatisfied with. Everything has been wonderful for me. I appreciate y'all allowed me to come down here now and tell off some of these things. And this time, my boss man is Dr. Clark here. I work for him now. He still got me on the payroll.
Still drives a tractor clearing out fire breaks, as a matter of fact. But he's got a wonderful home over there, a wonderful family. His mother's a little bit older than me. She's 12 days older than me. Me and her have been good friends for a long time. Johnny. Ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Hickox. Does anybody else have anything that they would like to share? Hearing none, again, thank you so much for being here. Take your time. We're going to be open all day long. We'll have some Sacred Harp singing here in just a few minutes, and then Okefenokee Joe is going to take the podium, I believe, at 2 o'clock, right? And he's right out over here. So, are the Sacred Harp singers here now? would y'all like to just come on up here? You can start as soon as you like and be here just as long as your hearts want to sing. We're so happy to have the Roddenberry sisters. Please. Thank you again.
Don't do that.